In a powerful moment at the G20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan shared his country's ambitious plans for the future of global climate governance. Speaking at a plenary session, Erdogan made it clear that Turkey would take centre stage in addressing the planet's urgent climate challenges by hosting the 31st conference of the party's COP to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and 5C. The announcement signals a significant step forward for Turkey in global environmental leadership. We plan to host the 31st Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Turkey next November, Erdogan declared. The decision to host COP31 places Turkey in a pivotal role in shaping global climate policy, underscoring the country's growing influence in international environmental affairs. The UNFCCC meetings, attended by representatives from nearly every nation on Earth, are critical for crafting binding agreements and policies to combat climate change, and hosting such an event is a powerful affirmation of Turkey's commitment to global environmental leadership. The timing of Erdogan's announcement comes at a moment when multilateral cooperation on global challenges, especially in climate change, is facing significant hurdles. The erosion of multilateralism has been a recurrent theme in recent years, with some countries pulling back from international agreements or scaling down their commitments. It is in this context that Erdogan expressed a special appreciation for Turkey's relationship with Australia, which he described as much more meaningful given the current global climate of uncertainty and division. When we consider the erosion of multilateralism in the last period, I find our agreement with Australia much more meaningful, Erdogan said. His remarks highlighted the importance of bilateral agreements, particularly with nations like Australia, which have been active participants in addressing climate change and upholding multilateral cooperation. Erdogan's words were more than just an announcement of a future event. They were a call to action. His statement came during a time of global uncertainty, marked by escalating geopolitical tensions, economic volatility, and the looming threat of climate-related disasters. For Erdogan, the upcoming COP31 in Turkey is not just an opportunity to showcase his country's environmental policies, but also a moment to reaffirm Turkey's commitment to international cooperation and its role as a bridge between the West and the East, between developed and developing nations. As a country with a unique geographical position straddling Europe and Asia, Turkey's role in global diplomacy has been evolving. Over the years, Turkey has taken a leading stance on regional conflicts, economic development, and now climate action. The decision to host COP31 is a significant milestone in Turkey's broader geopolitical strategy. It positions the country as a key player in tackling one of the most pressing global challenges of our time, climate change. Australia's role in this partnership is also significant. The agreement between Turkey and Australia is emblematic of the shared values between the two countries when it comes to environmental protection and the promotion of multilateral cooperation. Despite the rise of nationalist rhetoric in various parts of the world, Erdogan's remarks underlined the importance of forging strong alliances based on mutual goals and shared responsibility. For Erdogan, Australia's commitment to climate action and the preservation of multilateralism in the face of adversity is a vital partnership, one that underscores the power of collaborative efforts to confront global challenges. The announcement that Turkey will host COP31 has been met with a wave of international support. Many world leaders, climate experts and environmental organisations have expressed optimism about the conference's potential to set new, more ambitious targets for combating climate change. The success of previous COP meetings, such as COP26 in Glasgow, has demonstrated the potential of these global summits to drive meaningful action. However, as Erdogan's comments point out, the path forward will require sustained commitment to multilateralism and global cooperation. At the core of Erdogan's message is a call for unity in the fight against climate change. The erosion of multilateralism, as he described it, has been one of the most significant challenges to addressing global problems like climate change. In a world increasingly divided by political and ideological differences, the international community must come together and find common ground to address the climate crisis. Erdogan's commitment to hosting COP31 reflects his belief that Turkey can play a key role in advancing this agenda. Turkey's preparation to host COP31 is not just about a venue or event logistics. It is about setting the stage for a pivotal moment in the global conversation on climate action. COP31 will provide an opportunity for world leaders to renew their commitments, evaluate progress on past pledges, and propose new solutions to the climate crisis. The outcome of COP31 could help shape the trajectory of international climate policy for years to come, influencing everything from emissions reduction targets to financial support for developing nations impacted by climate change. The Turkish government is already working diligently to prepare for the summit, with plans to ensure that COP31 will be a platform for meaningful dialogue and practical solutions. In his speech, Erdogan made it clear that Turkey would work closely with its international partners to ensure the success of the conference. He also emphasised that the global community must act quickly to address climate change, noting that the window for taking effective action is rapidly closing. Erdogan's remarks at the G20 summit also came as part of a broader effort by Turkey to strengthen its ties with key global players, including Australia. For both nations, the importance of climate action has never been clearer. As the effects of climate change become more apparent, with rising temperatures, extreme weather events and environmental degradation, the need for urgent and coordinated action is critical. In this context, Turkey and Australia are aligning their efforts to ensure that global climate negotiations remain on track and that the most vulnerable nations receive the support they need to mitigate and adapt to the effects of climate change. As the world approaches COP31, the stakes are high. The next year will be crucial in determining whether the international community can rise to the challenge of climate change or whether it will continue to fall short. Erdogan's announcement signals that Turkey is ready to take on this challenge, providing a platform for dialogue, action and progress. In the lead-up to COP31, the international community will be watching closely to see how Turkey prepares to host the summit. Will Turkey's leadership be able to rally nations to make bold commitments? Will the outcome of COP31 signal a new era of global climate cooperation, or will it fall short of expectations? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Turkey, under Erdogan's leadership, is positioning itself at the forefront of global climate action. And the world will be watching as the country prepares to host one of the most important climate summits in history. Ultimately, Erdogan's comments are a reminder that the fight against climate change is not just about policy. It is about the ability of nations to come together, to set aside differences, and to work towards a common goal. COP31 in Turkey may just be the moment the world needs to reaffirm its commitment to tackling the climate crisis with the urgency it deserves. The eyes of the world will be on Turkey next year, and the decisions made there could have lasting impacts on the future of the planet. We plan to host the 31st Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Turkey next November. When we consider the erosion of multilateralism in the last period, I find our agreement with Australia much more meaningful.
Çok taraflılığın kaybettiği zemin dikkate alındığında bu hususta Avustralya ile sağladığımız mutabakatı çok daha anlamlı buluyorum.